But the lure of the highway was changing my mind. For ruby lips and dark eyes put my mind in a whirlwind. That morning was different, I left you behind. I pulled in the truck stop, stood on the air brakes, shut off the motor, climbed down from my seat. And feeling so sure, I strode into the diner, and there was the girl I had promised to meet. We sat drinking coffee and planning our future. The jukebox was playing a sweet country song. I glanced at the girl I'd left you to be with, and she could tell by my face that I knew I'd been wrong. For I heard Tammy Wynette singing Almost Persuaded, then Hank and the Cowboy sung Rambling Man. The songs of the stars fill my head with their message. Don't cheat on your loved ones, go home while you can. And it's thanks to Hank Williams, Hank Snow and his band, Tammy, Roy Nichols and Merle. With your fiddles and your guitars and your songs on the jukebox, your country sounds brought me back to my girl. I headed for home, driving quicker than lightning, and my diesel was humming its own highway songs. And when I held you that night, I knew it was forever. I come back to your truck stop where my heart belongs. And it's thanks to Hank Williams, Hank Snow and his band, Tammy, Glenn, Shirley and Merle. With your fiddles and your guitars and your songs on the jukebox, your country sounds brought me back to my girl. Yes, your country sounds brought me back to my girl.
One night a poem came up to a poet. From now on, it said, you must wear a mask. What kind of mask? Asked the poet. A rose mask, said the poem. I've used it already, said the poet. I've exhausted it. Then wear a mask that's made out of a nightingale song. Or it's an old mask, said the poet. It's all used up. Nonsense, said the poem. It's the perfect mask. Still, try on the God mask. Now that mask illuminates heaven. But it's a tired mask, said the poet. And the stars crawl about in it like ants. Then try on the troubadour's mask, or the singer's mask. Try on all the popular masks. I have, said the poet, but they fit too easily. The poem was getting impatient. It stamped its feet like a child. It screamed, then try on your own face. Try the one mask that terrifies, the mask only you could possibly use, the mask only you could wear out. The poet tore at his face till it bled. This mask, he yelled, this mask. Yes, said the poem, yes. But the poet was tired of masks. He had lived too long with them. He snatched up the poem and stuck it to his face. Its screams were muffled, it wept, it tried to be lyrical. It wriggled into his eyes and mouth, into his blood it wriggled. Next day his friends did not recognize him. He looked so distorted. Now it's the right mask, said the poem, the right mask. It clung to him lovingly and never let go again.
No matter what the weather
turn left and it's a big sandstone building. You can't miss it, it's next to fish and chip shop.
And after this quick bash in the dark, you will rise and go, thinking of how empty you have grown, and of whether all the evenings...
Oh, excuse me, lad. Excuse me. Sorry, but can I see your poetic license, please?
I haven't got one.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry, but you'll have to leave this record then, you know. Sorry about that. It's not my fault.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, at 14 stone 11 pounds, the foul-mouthed laureate himself, that vile versifier, the man who put the dick in dictionary, the Jackie Pallow of English literature, the masked poet!
Hello there. I'm the masked poet, like what the fella says of. And I'd like to open my bout this evening by doing for you a whole series of silent poems. Thank you. First one I'd like to do for you is Solace Poem number 1, with music accompaniment on the piano. Plenty of please, thank you. I remain unmasked, though many challenges came, and still you do not know who I am or what my name is. Every night 2 fellas and a tat came up, but they were outsmarted by me. Why? They shout fix, but you hiss and you boo, and I say boo to you too, and still you do not know who I am. I do not give a piss, or indeed a damn, so hiss and boo, go on, hiss and boo, because I will also. And reply, yeah, and go on, and cock me snoot and shake me fist. I am the champ of the posy ring, the heavyweight of verse, the bad basher from Birkenhead. I am the ballad monger among men, I am the sonneteer of you lot here. I am Vic. I can outrhyme the likes of Big John Betjeman. I can out-mouth Man Mountain Mansfield. I can break off John Wayne's right arm and stuff it up his old fist first. Like, I can last 15 3-minute stanzas with any woman, kid or man. With my prose, I knows I can. So whatever you say cuts no soap at me, lad. So hiss and boo, 'cause still you do not know who I am. Alone I will go it, I am still the masked poet, so that to you.
I was sitting in the nursery, toying with some toys, when from a door knocked Gruesome, that gave me gruesome noise. Cautiously I opened it, and there, to my surprise, a little Gru was sitting with tears in his eyes. Oh, little Gru, please tell me, what is it ails you so? I'm so smart, he answered, progressives don't want to know. I said exercises are the answer, each morning you must do so. He thanked me, smiled, and you know what, the very next day he grew some. Toby Farnham, crouched over the wheel of his TR2, was not enjoying the ride. Visibility was down to a few yards as the fog arched its back against the windscreen like a fat grey weasel. Outside, a distant church clock chimed midnight, but the only sound he could hear was the steady hum of his finely tuned engine and the incessant swish of the windscreen wipers. He'd never make London at this rate. What a damn fool I've been, he muttered to himself. I should have left hours earlier. In an attempt to dispel his gloom, Toby switched on the car radio. His mind drifted back to the weekend he'd just spent. House party at the Hursts. Boring old lot. Except for Jilly. She brightened up no end. He whistled now, almost contentedly. Suddenly, and without warning, the car spluttered to a halt. He cursed softly to himself. Running out of petrol at this time of night, in filthy weather in the middle of nowhere. What foul luck. He switched off the ignition, the windscreen wipers, and the radio. Rather than sit all night imprisoned in his car, he decided to brave the elements for a while, in the hope of finding a garage, even a farmhouse, anything. He took a deep breath and got out.
The fog leapt upon him, its paws on his shoulders, clinging to him, pushing its cold tongue into his nose and ears. He stumbled on blindly. What a peas souper! The only sounds he could hear were his own muffled footsteps and the occasional hoot of a distant owl. He was just on the point of giving up and resigning himself to a lonely night in the car, when straight ahead he could dimly make out the blurred outline of a building. Too big for a farmhouse, manor house more like, even some sort of church. No lights on anywhere. He groped along the outside looking for an entrance. He found it, a heavy wooden door slightly ajar. Putting his left shoulder to it, he pushed and pushed. It creaked slowly open. He was in just in time as the door clanged shut behind him. Strangely, there was no handle on the inside. It was pitch black, and wherever he was locked in. He cursed softly to himself. Unable to see anything in the eerie blackness, he shuffled forward, like a blindfolded 2-year-old wearing his father's shoes. His left elbow brushed against something cold and hard, and then he heard it. The laughter, cruel, blood-curdling. He turned around, and as he did, collided with what seemed like a coffin. A werewolf howled. He turned and ran. Footsteps echoed after him. Thunder rumbled all around. The wind roared. He crashed into a wall. There could be no escape. In his mind's eye, he saw the thing coming towards him. Half man, half beast, half pissed. Panic-stricken, he dug his fingernails into the wall. A headless rider on a fiery horse galloped into view, followed by a horde of Indians, hotly pursued by 14 cavalry. The 755s and rifles led by the time. Hands over his ears, he screamed, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" And that was how they found him next morning. Dead. In the sound effects department of Broadcasting House. British is that we don't speak enough foreign languages, unlike them Europeans, for instance. Witness this typical scene in a typical street in a typical town in typical Europe.
Excusez-moi, monsieur, je suis en français, je suis plutôt ici à Copenhagen.
Excuse me, sir, I'm a Frenchman, and I've lost my way here in Copenhagen.
Entschuldigen Sie bitte, aber ich kann nicht Italienisch sprechen, ja.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Portuguese.
Mais non, monsieur, aujourd'hui la détection est boum, boum.
Would you be so kind as to direct me to the nearest sex show?
Ich habe hier eine Kurzweile von Frankfurt angekommen.
I have just arrived in this country from Frankfurt.
With donkeys and ladies.
So perhaps you can help me.
With a little cunnilingus.
I am looking for a sex show.
Performed by transvestites.
Featuring homosexuals engaged in corporal punishment.
As is popular.
As is much favoured.
In England.
In England.
England. It is beautiful. It's the best. Le football, monsieur. Avec Bobby Charlton.
Hello, sir. I bring greetings from Planet Earth. I repeat, sir, I come
come from Earth and bring peace. Well, I'm afraid the Martian is unable to communicate. Obviously, of human intelligence. What a pity. Over and out.
A new prophet appeared recently. He was first seen walking out an ocean, which ocean we've forgotten. He said to the hushed crowds where had gathered, to the journalists, the radio and television newscasters, the Look at Life team and the politicians, stay in bed. That was his message. Bring each other cups of coffee, lie naked as near as possible without touching. Think of governments, chewing gum, ping pong balls, wars, Queen Elizabeth coronation cups, anything. You're bound finally to burst out laughing. Draw peace maps across each other's bodies. Climb into bed. Imagine if everyone did. Returning astronauts would hear only the sound of dreaming. Well, the hushed crowds, the journalists, the radio and television newscasters, the Look at Life team and the politicians thought it sounded a good message, a clear message, the kind they could pass on quite harmlessly to children. Bed manufacturers were informed. They loved the idea, loved it, made beds big enough to hold several thousand people, all thinking of Queen Elizabeth coronation cups, wars, ping pong balls, anything. It sounds so good a message, said the people, that something's bound to go wrong. So philosophers, a household name and a TV personality gathered to discuss the message. There were a few flaws to be ironed out. Robots were to be invented for the menial task of running the planet. Otherwise, a fine message. And so now the whole planet's sleeping. East and west snores, Hansel and Gretel personified. Moss bursts out from bank vaults. All manner of creatures make themselves at home in houses. From bed to bed, spiders spin the webs, dream catchers. And there are sleepwalkers and sleep lovers in nightgowns or pyjamas, in underwear or nothing, all wandering through fields or suburbs, all so quietly. And some woken from nightmare sit and comfort one another, shivering and whispering, oh, it's all madness. And occasionally, the prophet rising from his ocean drifts down the inland current, watches whatever's moving. Occasionally he drags himself up into the disused radio ships, where earphones to his brain he listens, makes sure it's all still silent. I know it's all madness, and he has little else to do, him suffering from insomnia, adrift in his fairy tale silence.
Everybody do it. Oh, it's the end of the record now, and it's cheerio from Mego and Dave Riches.
We interrupt this end of the record with a police message. Will Mrs. Elsie Lastlegs, who is dangerously ill in St Mary's Hospital,
We interrupt
Highgate,
this police
please
message
go to
with a message to all
7 Park
shipping.
Street, Blackburn.
Meteorological
Will her
office
son Larry
the following
wants to borrow
warning
some money?
0900 hours. Greenwich Mean Time.
We interrupt
Here
these
is a
interruptions
series
with a
of
motoring
Might
flash.
be
Will
good.
More than
Mr.
100
Adrian
people
Swinburne,
into
the
the
poet,
zeros,
canvas
pilot
master,
on the aviation
last
line,
heard of
which
in
is
Apple
the
Street,
car,
Lager,
the
Wagon,
Jumbo
Jumbo,
Bank,
Islands,
the Rolls
Islands,
Royce,
Basin,
and Jumbo Jeremy. An RAF spokesman even said it was an accident.
People like that, and we had Jeremy and Nigel and Spender and Wizzle and Bonko and Lefty and Righty, his brother, and there was Jimmy and Tommy Hewson and what's the tall chap's name? Ninky and Daffo and Yankee and Yozzer and Wazzo